Get ready for the Tech Zone. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Time Zone. Add the app to your cell phone. Paul Amadeus Lane Zone. With informative interviews and breakthroughs with CEOs and gurus and who's and reviews. Count on Paul to bring y'all the news. Yeah, he done paid dues and never snoozed. Refused to lose and stayed humble and still played by the rules. On the scene since 16, Pop's been Paul's gasoline. Spiritual house have to stay clean. Put the cleaner first, y'all know the routine. In the world, the sun clean disaster. It's the vaccine, so quarantine. Or relive the emphysema epidemic of 1918.
What's going on, everybody? Paul Amadeus Lane, you are in the Tech Zone. I'm so happy to be with you on this edition of the show. But what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the GDC conference being virtual, all virtual. This year we're going to be joined by one of the organizers and accessibility gaming legend. You know who I'm talking about. If you don't, you have to stay tuned. We're going to chop it up and talk about the decision to get this conference on, doing it virtually, and some other great things we'll discuss as well. We're also going to talk about remote learning. Now, some of you parents out there may have a child who's doing remote learning because of this pandemic. Maybe your child is doing like a hybrid of this, or maybe your child has always done remote learning. And that's kind of like the thing that's not being discussed about remote learning. Kids have been doing that for a long time. A lot of kids have been on homeschool. Parents are thinking about it's something that just like came to fruition during this pandemic. I know some kids that's been doing that for years. And you notice some of the criticism that parents are saying about the children, about needing to be in the classroom to learn. They wasn't talking that mess many years ago. See, everything has to be so doggone political now. Everybody, just use common sense. We've always had remote learning. Goodness. That's a good friend. He used to say, man alive. I mean, can't we just fall back for a minute and quit always being defensive when it comes to things? I mean, just think about it for a minute. We've always had remote learning. Everybody's walking around like it's something new. Okay, but we're going to talk to a tech expert about some of the things that one major wireless company is doing to help, meet the challenge when it comes to this. But not only that, some other good resources that parents and families can access during this pandemic, keeping your children safe, and some other great things. Remember, you can always connect with me, paulamadeuslane.com. Thank you so much for liking the episodes, watching the episodes on all of our formats. We really, really, really appreciate it. You have no idea. I'm humbled when even one person tunes in, likes, shares any episodes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. To start our show, I just want to talk about some things that I've struggled with, and hopefully you can learn from my example when it comes to certain things out there. I am always looking for opportunities to, not always, I don't want people to think that I'm money hungry or things like that, but I'm always looking for ways to make a little extra money, as long as it doesn't take a lot of time and resources and so forth and all that other mess. You may have noticed, like, when you're watching a YouTube video, an ad may pop up with someone saying, hey, I'm going to show you how to make $1 million. Hey, you want to increase all these ad sales? Look at what I've made. And let's keep it 100 out there. That intrigues us, right? Especially during COVID-19, because maybe we're a little nervous now. Maybe our job that we have is non-existent now. Maybe we have been laid off, and we're looking for ways to make a little extra money. And sad to say, people prey on that. And you may be down to like your last dollar. And you say, well, maybe this can be the way that I can pull my family up. And some of these people have some incredible stories. They talk about how they were down to their last like couple $1,000s on their credit card and they took the leap and they did it. And they want us to do the same. So we watch a free webinar where they ask us to pay like $99 or $50. And then after the webinar, you realize, oh no, you're going to need more. You're going to need to do this, and that. It's kind of like network marketing. Now, I don't want to give the perception that I'm against network marketing, because all network marketing is a job. You know, it's not a something where everybody gets rich off of the opportunity. No, it's actually a job. You have to work it like a small business. And don't let anybody tell you, who are these network marketing companies, how easy it is. Oh, all you have to do is this. You have to believe in the promise. You have to do this. You have to do that. No, that's nonsense. Because if they really believed in the promise, what would they do? They would front you the money to start that business, but they'll never do that. Why? Because they make money off of signups, off of me and you. That's how they do it. But let me get back to my original point about these webinars and things like that. We're feeling desperate now during this pandemic. Just be careful out there. This may be how a lot of these cats make their money and the $1 million checks is because of me and you signing up for these webinars, paying this money on how to get this. And I was thinking about an analogy the other day about, let's take for instance, if a sport team, the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm a big Laker fan. So let's say that the Lakers wanted to sign a basketball player, and they went to the basketball player and said, hey, I want you on my team. This is all that you'll be able to get on our team. Maximum exposure. You'll get on ESPN, TNT, all these games. It will increase your brand. Look what happened to this other superstar right here. They came over here and their brand just exploded. Don't you want to be a part of this team? Well, to be a part of this team, you have to pay us about $1,000 to be a part of this team. And then after that, you have to pay us so much money a month to retain the rights to talk about this team. But make no mistake, you got to make it back. You got to make it back with all the fans, with all the marketing opportunities. Is there for you. How would we feel? We'd be like, why am I paying you to be a part of something that's going to make you money? I hope that little analogy makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know where I'm wrong, and I will happily admit my error. But think about those who are desperate, who are trying to feed their families, and they're looking at options. It's sad to say people are preying on people doing that. Just be careful. I get tired of hearing stories of ones getting taken advantage of by people who are looking just to make a dollar. I have a guy right now text me like 3 or 4 times a week. I signed up for one of his webinars like a year ago saying, oh, come on, be a part of this. Got to do it now. You only have 10 seconds to respond. I ignore that mess. I mean, it's sad. If people just presented the opportunity honestly and say there is an opportunity to make some money, it just may not happen. It may not happen. But it's like any business. Some make it, some don't. Be honest with people out there. Oh, and before we take our break, I remember this one guy I signed up for, and he had these little, I don't know, little mentors or something that would give you a call. So I talked to the mentor, and he asked me, hey, what do you do, Paul? I said, I'm a member of the media, and I'm really looking something just to supplement what I'm making now. Nothing, not looking to get rich enough, but just a little extra chicken, a little extra cheese out there, right? So we have a conversation, and I say, well, my family owns a couple of timeshares. I'm looking about renting those on eBay and things like that. I didn't realize that you can't do that, but I just wanted to see where he was coming from. Oh, that's good, but hey, we got these other things that we have, and it costs about $2,000 a month. I mean, why in the world I mean, think about it. Why in the world would I give somebody $2,000 a month and not even sure if I'm gonna make it? Guaranteed you're gonna make this back. Man, you can't guarantee me nothing but if I eat enough burger and fries, that I'm gonna have to go see Dr. Nalzardan down in Houston and have him tell me no carb mean no carb. I mean, it's ridiculous out there, friends, how people are preying on us. And I'm going to do a series of YouTubes on my YouTube channel about this. I'm also going to talk about how people are reaching out to people in the media business, influencers, trying to get a hold of your ad accounts on Facebook and Twitter, and taking it over. That happened to me. Remember, I talked about that, but I'm going into a little more detail at that. I might have a cybersecurity expert join me and talk about it. All right. Well, enough of me. I don't know, venting this morning. And I'm also reaching out to a member of the United States Postal Service that talk about technology and how the kind of the slowing down of things with the post office, how we can mitigate that using the tech at the Postal Service. Thought that'd be a good subject. Well, I'll tell you what, gonna take my first break right here. When we get back, we're going to talk about remote learning and how technology can help our children to really just thrive in this environment. I'll be right back after these messages. That's my fingers don't work. That's me giving up the deuces. Take care, folks. Be right back.
Get ready for the Tech Zone. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Time Zone. Add the app to your cell phone. Paul Amadeus Lane Zone. With informative interviews and breakthroughs with CEOs and gurus and who's and reviews. Count on Paul to bring y'all the news. Yeah, he done paid dues and never snooze. Refused to lose and stayed humble and still played by the rules. On the scene since 16, Pop's been Paul's gasoline. Spiritual house have to stay clean. Put the cleaner first, y'all know the routine. In the world, the sun clean disaster. It's the vaccine, so quarantine. Or relive the emphysema epidemic of 1918.
You are in the Tech Zone. I am Paul Amadeus Lane. Thank you so much for coming back to the show after me venting about remote learning and the kind of get rich quick schemes we see like on certain ads out there. But I'm just, you get tired of the nonsense sometimes, don't you? It's like people just have a coherent argument, and then we can move on. And not saying that we don't want to hear what's on your mind, but I mean, don't spew no nonsense without having the facts, you know. But hey, okay, enough of me griping right now. Let's talk about something that can really help our children out there during this environment, COVID-19, remote learning in many states, schools are shut down. And what can technology do to help bridge the gap, to help our children thrive, especially in areas where the internet is not as robust? What can help us out? Well, my next guest is going to tell us. And I'm so excited to have this beautiful, intelligent tech mind on with me again. I didn't scare her away. The beautiful Diana Alleviate. Diana, what's up?
It's not going to get any better than that, so we might as well just call it a day.
We'll end it right there, right? That's what things like Quibi and stuff are doing now. These little short things, and then they just go. But no, we have so much things we want to talk about. Diana is a Verizon tech expert, and so great to have you back on. And especially before we talk about the subject, how are you? How's the family doing? Everything's all good?
Paul, it's so good to see you, my friend. I was so excited when I saw the opportunity to get back in the chair and chat with you about all things tech and life. We're good. We're blessed. The world is a crazy place right now, and I just feel blessed that I have my family and we have our health. And I know that so many people are having a tough time, so I'm sending virtual hugs to all of your listeners because Lord knows we can use them right now. So, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. Just having that family unit and that family core, especially during this time. And that's what I'm noticing, Diana. Even when we talk about any subjects now, a lot of people are just concerned about other people, and that's good, because sometimes we see like the dark side of things, like where people are just going at it on social media. I mean, you don't even know that person, and you're like having a screaming match. But it's good to have that good vibe that you emit, not only on social media but also here with us now. So I really wanted to have you back on, especially with the ramping up of the school year, remote learning. And as a parent, what are some of the concerns that you have? And looking at that concern, what some of the things are Verizon doing to help alleviate those concerns?
Well, I want to say that I've just been blown away at the way that Verizon has stepped up at this time of need. I mean, being a telecom company in a time when everybody's working from home and having to stay quarantined has meant, a great responsibility, and everybody has really kicked it into gear to try and show up and do their part. So, speaking to you as a parent, it is crazy right now, and my son is supposed to start pre-K in the fall, and we're in Jersey, and right now it looks like he will be able to start, but there's all sorts of rules in place, and they have to have their masks on, of course. That's a lot for a little 4-year-old. So we just know that we have to stay prepared in the event that suddenly they're not going back to school and they have to stay home. So this is a really important topic for me to talk to your viewers about, because you need to have options right now. I mean, with so much chaos happening, it's good to know that at least you have a few solutions, and hopefully I'm going to help some people today with some of those options. So the first thing I want to mention is if you have little ones, you'll notice that they are freakishly good with tablets. My kid works an iPad at 4. It's kind of scary. I'm like, how did you find all these YouTube videos? But he figured it out. And as long as you have a really strong carrying case, I find that they're able to handle tablets. So that age group, I'm thinking, from 3 all the way up until like 8 or 9, they're not always the most careful, and their little hands aren't always going to be able to handle a laptop and stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is the Samsung Tab S6. It comes in this box right here, and here is the tab. It is beautiful and sleek, lightweight. And one of the coolest things about this tablet is that it also comes with its own stylus. So for little hands that are just learning how to write and stuff, it's great because they can absolutely use the stylus on the tablet. They can do their lessons on here, and kids are going to be kids. They're not going to want to be sitting down at the kitchen table the whole day if they're learning from home. So they can take this tablet with them and learn on the go. Maybe they're in their fort in the backyard, or maybe they're in their bedroom, or they're hanging out on the living room couch. The Tab S6, is going to make life a lot easier. Just make sure, take it from a parent who knows you need a really good carrying case for it to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And then alongside the tab, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Samsung Galaxy Plus earbuds. So these are fantastic. They charge in 3 minutes, and you can use them continuously for up to 11 hours. So, all kids love music. They want to watch their YouTube videos and their, TikTok videos and all of that. So they can wear these, and they're really small. I'm going to open them up and show them to you. Super cool. It feels like you're using something from like Star Trek. I just sounded so old right now. I know, but they're really cool.
Yeah.
And they're small, and they come with different sizes depending on the ear, right? So little ears, little sizes, and so on. So these two together, I think, are just going to make a better educational experience overall when it comes to tech. So, the other things, though, that I want to talk about are some parenting resources right now, some educational resources.
You know,
The
and
first,
I'm glad you brought that up, Diana, because this is something that kind of like really blew me away. I had no idea that Verizon was doing this, and again, this is why it's so important to have ones like yourself on to talk about this side of technology and some of the great things that Verizon is doing. And please go right ahead.
yeah. So the first thing that I want to talk about is right now with the state of the economy, times are tough, and in any way that you can save a little bit of money is going to go a long way, especially for families. So if you have college kids in your life, I do want to make sure that we talk about the student discount that's happening right now. We just ramped it up big time. So right now, if you sign up for a Verizon Wireless Unlimited account, you can get up to $25 off of 2 lines. You get a free year of Disney Plus. Hello, Black is King. Like, it was awesome. Everybody's talking about it, you know?
Yep, yep, yes, indeed.
Yes, yes, yes. A year free. You also get Apple Music, and right now you get 6 months free of something called Todoist Premium. I didn't know what this was until I spoke to the folks at Todoist, and then I was blown away. So it's essentially a productivity app when it comes to work and life. So, and it would be helpful for high school students as well. So basically, you take your schedule, right, and you put it into this app, and then you can even make subcategories. So let's say you put in your class, but then in the subcategories, you write down, you break down projects step by step, and you can organize the whole thing so that all you have to do is just check your app every day and you're not going to miss anything. And then you can also, put in all your lectures and then put in your study time and your fun time and, anything that you need to organize, it's in there because you're going to have to schedule some downtime, right? Like you have to make sure that you have some relaxation time. So that is the college student discount. But now getting to what you really wanted to talk about. So one of the things that I think is so important is that we need to continue to have these dialogues around the digital world when it comes to kids, like how much tech is too much tech, how much should they be gaming, what kind of conversations should we be having when it comes to tech. Verizon actually has this whole resources hub called Parenting in a Digital World. It's fantastic. Every single topic you could think of that falls under that umbrella is in there, and it's all sourced by experts. So you don't have to go at this alone. Verizon is not just about buying devices, it's also about giving you guidance at a time when we are literally living in a digital world. I mean, you can't go anywhere. So you're depending upon your digital devices. And for kids, it's a lifeline because they can't be social together in a lot of situations. So this is going to give you a lot of guidance. And now, Paul, this is the greatest thing. So I just found out about this recently. Verizon is going to be able to assist 12.5 million students in America. They are partnering with the Georgia Department of Education to enable distance learning in 10 states. We're talking Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi, New Jersey, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. So this is what they're going to be able to get. I don't want to mess this up, so let me read this off.
There you go.
I know, right? Access discounted service plans for unlimited 4G LTE internet access, mobile device management, and Children's Internet Protection Act compliant security apps. So this is going to level the playing field for so many kids because it is unbelievable to me. But in 2020, we still have a digital divide. And I know you know all about that.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I'm glad to hear that because I was talking to another tech expert on this last episode, and we're talking about, how come in some pockets of the United States, we're just this technical conglomeration of all these different innovations, but the internet is still not where it should be for many of us here. And that's incredible because let's face it, parents are kind of apprehensive about maybe the remote learning, probably because of maybe this fact that my internet's not that strong. So how's my child going to catch up and learn? So this really helps meet that need. And when it comes to that aspect of just the digital world we live in, and for the parents out there, one thing that really struck me that Verizon is doing, and this is like amazing, how the pandemic has changed my parenting. I mean, because the kids really can't do what they used to do, maybe go to the pool and swim and all these other things. So they're spending a lot of times on their devices right now. And looking at that article, it really showed a balance when it comes to technology, because technology is here to stay. I mean, we all use it
Yeah.
in all aspects of life. And Diana, what's been your experience as a parent of finding that balance, and maybe your experience can help ones out there who may need some help in this regard.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, my son just turned 4, and he has been a true story. He's going to kill me when he's 15 when he finds out I told the story. But we were trying to potty train him, and it was really hard to get him to go to the potty and then to stay on the potty. And one of the incentives was iPad time. He doesn't get iPad time outside of potty. Now we created a monster where he wants to be in the potty for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, maybe not. But it's something that we think about all the time is his screen time. And he also likes to watch. He's really into dinosaurs and he's really into volcanoes and things. And so he'll watch those videos on YouTube on our TV, and we just kind of try and balance it out. But I spoke to this expert who was just fantastic and was telling me, listen, like generations ago, people thought that TV was bad for you, and they thought that the radio was bad for you, and they thought that rock and roll was bad for you. So, it's natural to have some apprehension about something new that you don't necessarily understand, like technology and now gaming, and you've got Twitch and you've got TikTok and all these things. But just understand that if you keep that dialogue going with your kids, no matter whether they're 4 or they're 19, just keep talking about it, be open about it, and educate yourself. And I think that's really all we can do. And I want to talk to you, Paul, because this was something we were talking about before we started, but I really want to understand. I'd love to see people look to the disabled community more when it comes to remote learning. It just seems to me like y'all are the experts here. I mean, what can we learn? What do I need to learn from you?
I'm glad you asked that question. There's so many things that the disabled community has been through even before this pandemic that can really help out there. Remote learning, we've been doing that for many years. And one thing we can learn is that kids are very resilient. When you look at some of the pushback of ones, oh, our children will be left behind, they won't be able to learn. Our kids are not dumb. They are very, very intelligent. Kids can adapt faster than adults can.
Mhm.
So what I think that ones can learn from my community, the disabled community, is don't be afraid to try different things.
Yeah.
Be patient. You have some ups and downs. It'll be some days you're like, this is not going to work. Let's stop. But keep in mind that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Hmm.
So just take small steps, baby steps. Learn from us. Learn how we learn in different small bursts, different increments. And
Yeah.
and I think simplicity is always the best. It's not the quantity of the learning, it's the quality of the learning. So
Yeah.
if curriculums are scaled down so that a person can learn something, that's more important than just saying, "Oh, we read 100 pages a day." But what did you remember for those 100 pages? What if you read like 5 pages and you got the sense of the whole story?
Yeah.
So just things like that, I would say, Diana, would help out, especially in this time in which we're living in.
Yeah. No, that is so wise. That is so wise. And I mean, if anything, we're spending more time with our kids, which is always a blessing. I mean, I know I can speak for a lot of stressed out parents. Sometimes they're like, oh my God, I haven't been away from my kids in 4 months. But it is a blessing. And there's a little less hustle and bustle right now, and you can take a little bit more quality time. And I just hope that, we come through this a little bit stronger, and by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, there's a lot of us out there that, we love technology. And then there's some of us that are like, listen, if it works, it works. That's all I want. And for some people that feel a little bit of apprehension when it comes to working those devices, right now, Verizon has a tech coach service. A
Nice.
real tech expert is going to be able to walk you through your stuff. You get the service for 30 days free. with the purchase of a device. And I mean, I get very nervous if I don't know how to work my technology and then I have to go through chats. I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to get this. But with Tech Coach, you actually get to talk to a person. So I'm all about adding a little bit more peace of mind to your viewers and listeners' lives right now. We could all use a little bit more peace of mind, but I just love talking to you, and you and I could probably talk all day.
We sure can, and I always love talking to you too, Diana. You're an amazing person, and there's one thing I want to draw the audience attention to is an article on that on the resource that Verizon has offered for parents, and that is putting all safe parenting tools in one app. I love that because it's some great things in there that parents should be aware of, especially during this time where people are meeting people online and doing some nefarious things to our minors out there. So it's good for parents. Don't lose that power of checking that phone. If your kid don't like it, forget it. I mean, if the kids don't like it, tough, because you're saving them. So that's just, I don't have any kids, so I can say that, but I'm just really concerned about our children out there, Diana.
Yeah, absolutely. Know their codes. That's a condition. Hey, they live under your roof. You paid for those devices, then you get access to them and you get those codes. And again, for your listeners and your viewers, it's called Parenting in a Digital World. You can go to Verizon.com and it's just the most fantastic resources. Um, Everybody needs a little bit of guidance right now because we just can't get away from it. We're so reliant on technology. So, how to do it as safely as possible. Absolutely.
So, Diana, that's what I'm talking about. So, you and I, we were raised old school, and that's some of these new school parents need to learn a little bit. Don't concede
Don't be
that.
their friend.
Absolutely, you're their parent for a reason. You can be their friend when everybody becomes an adult, and you're still going to be their parent because I may get in trouble for saying this. My older sisters, no, I'm not going to go there. Diana, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure. Let's go ahead and give that information out again. How ones can find out about these wonderful resources and these products, please.
Yes, please go to Verizon.com. They recently redid the website, and then you can find all of this information. It's called Parenting in a Digital World. It is updated on a weekly basis, and there are so many different articles about so many different topics. I mean, right now, I would say some of the hot button issues are gaming and social media apps like TikTok, and what are the dangers surrounding these kinds of apps, and what kinds of conversations do you need to be having with your kids, and that is all there. It is an excellent hub for resources.
Diana, always enjoy your insight and spending time with you. It's been awesome. It seemed like it's a continuation from our last interview we did. It's been over a month ago, so it's like time stood still. But we appreciate you coming on and checking out everything and letting us know what's going on out there and what the great folks at Verizon is doing to help our families, help our children, and keep up the fine fight, my friend. And please stay safe with you and your family. Sending you a virtual hug.
Oh, always a pleasure. I jump at the chance to talk to my buddy Paul.
Take care of yourself.
Bye, you too.
The beautiful, the lovely, the talented Diana Alviar. Always love talking to her and getting my virtual hug from her. She's amazing. I'm going to have her back on. Some more shows. Just her insight is just impeccable. Yes, I learned a new word this weekend. Impeccable. Yes, it is. Don't ask me to define that word. I just know it sounds pretty cool out there. All right, when we get back, another virtual conference is going to take place next month. Going to be joined by one of the organizers to talk about that decision and some of the things that ones are going to be able to find out during that conference and why you should make sure you register to be a part of it. Be right back after these messages. Tech Zone.
world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone. I am Paul Amadeus Lane. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging with us during the show. Look at here, look at here, look at here. Boy, look at here. That's all I have to say when it comes to just the times in which we're living in, how technology is really like out in the forefront, keeping us informed. And one of the things that really took a hit during this pandemic were conferences and conventions. Since you follow me, or maybe you don't follow me, I'll let you know why I've been impacted by this. Well, around January starts like the busiest time of year for me. I cover CES. That's now a digital virtual convention. In February, I cover the Abilities Expo and other conferences out there. I'll go back to January. I cover NAMM. I cover CSUN. So about 10 months out of the year, I'm at conventions, traveling, covering. Well, because of COVID-19, many conventions have been canceled. So what have some done? Some have looked at technology to still have these conventions. And let's face it, some conventions weren't prepared for the virtual experience. But as time has gone, we've gotten a little better, a little better, a little better. My next guest is going to talk about why their convention is going to be mind-blowing and why you should be a part of this convention and make sure that you register. Sir Ian Hamilton, what is up, my friend? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Doing fantastic. Always great to chat with you. And when I saw the news that GA Conf was going to be virtual this year, that was music to my ears because it's hard for me to travel at times. And take us through the decision to do that and to make sure to let us know that it was happening this year.
Yeah, well, it's all just for safety because of the COVID situation. So we did it. So there's two editions of the conference. There's the European one, which was in London back in October, and the American one, which was due to be moving to Seattle this year. And we had a nice venue all lined up, all good to go, and some really nice stuff tied in with that as well. And then the world all changed. So we went back and forwards a bit with plans about what we're going to do with it, and decided to go fully online because we already have has been kind of like a little bit online for people who can't make it there physically. We have live streamed the previous conferences for free, so the people who can't be there in person can still kind of be there. It's not quite the same because you're not actually there having the face-to-face conversations, which is it's tough trying to replicate that online. And that's part of the value of being there, It's kind of like group therapy, chance for people who are kind of struggling with this kind of stuff on their own to actually be in a room full of other people who understand, And there's been nice things that have come from kind of the conversations that people have struck up while they've been there as well. One of which being Last of Us 2. So the blind accessibility work that was done on Last of Us 2 back at the first conference. Brandon Cole got chatting with Emilia Schatz about blind accessibility and about the possibilities of that kind of genre. And lo and behold, a few years later, there he is in the credits in Last of Us 2 as a result. So that's the thing, it's that kind of networking is the real challenge with it. So we're trying to do some stuff with that, trying to get some of the whatever kind of social side we can to it,
I totally agree with you, Ian, because I remember when you and I got a chance to spend some time together at CSUN last year. We were looking forward to spending time together at the conference in Seattle. I'm sorry, in up north, and then again, and then COVID hit. And for ones out there who really don't understand the impact of these chats that we can have outside of the conferences and how important it is, we get a chance to talk about some major things in a relaxed setting that really put some things into motion that we see happening today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. It's amazing what things can happen when people just have a conversation. Another nice example was in the previous European one we had in Paris in 2018. There was Jamie Knight there, who works at the BBC. He was doing a talk on cognitive accessibility. He's autistic himself, and there was also a panel there on motor accessibility. And he is also doing, as part of his day job, research into accessibility in VR, and then use the contacts he built from that panel, from the other speakers at the conference, to help with that VR research. And that is now starting to make its way out into the public domain. So it's nice seeing those things kind of grow and spread. But even without like those specific like projects and stuff, just people having a chance to speak to each other, like I said, people who've got common interests, common understanding, have been fighting the same kind of battles to be able to have people to relate to.
That is so true. And for ones who are listening and viewing right now, Ian, about GA Conf, can you explain to them why it was created in the first place? We kind of touched on it a little bit, but why it was created in the first place and the strides that this conference has taken over the years, and just the benefit of it, just for ones who may not be familiar with it.
Well, it really came about as well. Actually, the kind of first seeds of it was when Tara and I went to a conference in Boston in 2012. It's the Games for Health conference, and they had an accessibility day there, which was a day just of accessibility talks, and that was awesome. It didn't continue on, unfortunately, but that was kind of a taster of the kind of thing that could be possible. And skip ahead a few years, I mean, around that time, like if there was an accessibility talk at a conference, it was like one talk at the event, and it was just a basic awareness raising. This is what accessibility is, this is why it's important, and you get maybe like 15 people turn up to see it. But as the years progressed, it rapidly escalated. It went from 15 to the next year was 30, the next year was 60, next year was 120, and then it was getting to the point where it was both enough interest in accessibility content and also enough progress being made in accessibility that it really felt that we should be way beyond just some basic awareness raisers. So these kind of things were kind of coming together with a couple of other factors as well, like the organisation that the conference is run through, the IGDA's accessibility group, kept getting feedback from people attending other conferences who were frustrated about the accessibility issues of game developer conferences. So this is from disabled developers. So that was another side to it as well, was actually getting a chance to actually take the organisation of it into our own hands and help act as a bit of a showcase for how you can make conferences themselves accessible as well. So there's all these kind of things feeding in together that led to doing the first one. And that was in San Francisco in 2016. 2017. Can't count. But yeah, so it's nice that that's kind of come full circle now, because like I said, that was when Brandon met with Naughty Dog. That's who closed out our first conference, was Naughty Dog, talking about the accessibility functionality in Uncharted 4. So it's nice to kind of see that come full circle now. We're at a point where there has been like a full development life cycle since that point, so now we're able to go back and see where the industry has moved on to for the next step from there,
And Ian, how can we get more people in development to be a part of the movement? Maybe they're not aware of it. Maybe they don't realize the impact that it has on disabled gamers such as myself. Is it hard to get ones to understand the vision and the purpose and that we all work so hard for?
Well, it's getting there. I mean, it wasn't very many years ago that the main barrier was awareness. People just had never even thought about accessibility. It just wasn't on people's radar. That's not really the case at all now. It's hard to find anyone really who hasn't, at least to some very small degree at least, thought about accessibility, or at least be aware of it, about it. So it's now more about kind of misconceptions that people have, um, thinking that's going to be really difficult and really expensive and dilute down your ideas just to benefit a small number of people, all those kind of things, and it all feeds into basically prioritization. So people thinking, okay, right, I've got finite resources to make this game. Does this really justify? Like, I understand accessibility is a thing. I have some idea of what the point of it all is, but how can I justify that against everything else that I've got to try and fit into this game with this finite time and money? So those are the more kind of discussions that people come up against at the moment.
And Ian, when we just look at the movement when it comes to accessibility, and we see how conferences like this can be very transformational. Look at some of the talks that have taken place from there, and we see things that are happening in The Last of Us Part 2 for ones who have vision impairments, hearing impairment. When we look at something like that, has there ever been moments after the conference or even during the conference that someone has come up to you or the organizers and said, Ian, I am so glad that I attended this conference because it opened my eyes up to something I wasn't aware of?
Yes, all the time. Yeah, that's lovely to see the impact that it has on people. I think part of that as well is not just from the content of the talks themselves, although obviously that is an important part of it, but also just being in the room with so many other people who are singing from the same hymn sheet, and just having that feeling that it is actually a movement, it's a discipline, it's something that is not just the case of, you who've got this kind of like special interest within your company and trying to sneakily do things on the side and hoping you can persuade someone and stuff, but actually seeing, no, this is a proper big thing.
And Ian, this is why I encourage all of my friends in the tech world, not just the gaming world, but in other aspects of the tech world, whether if it's voice activation software or any facets of the assistive and adaptive technology, to show up at your conference because they can learn a lot that they can now implement in their products and in their innovation that they have. And I think one day, Ian, this conference is going to morph in even to a bigger swath of the accessibility and the adaptability world, because what you guys are able to do, I think people definitely want to be a part of because it's definitely transformational.
Well, that's my hope for the industry in general, that it's especially in the AAA sector where you've got companies consisting of literally hundreds of really, really clever, talented, skilled, creative, technical problem solvers. I don't think there's really many other places, many other industries, full stop, that have got access to that kind of incredible resource to solve some of those kind of problems. So I think at the moment the industry is, to a large degree, kind of still in catch-up mode compared to where other industries are. But that is one thing that I am very hopeful for the future, that there's going to be some really innovative solutions that are going to help inform and inspire people in other industries as well. And actually, I saw it was only relatively small, a really cool example of that just a couple of weeks ago when the Last of Us 2 launched. Within a couple of weeks of it launching, I saw a tweet from an e-commerce platform who said they have just implemented some accessibility features inspired by what they'd seen in The Last of Us 2 for making their coding environment more accessible to disabled web developers. And that's awesome to see. It was only a relatively small example, but that's the kind of thing that I'd hope there'd be a lot more of in the future.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It used to be nothing without us. Now it's, I forgot. I made up this new word when I interviewed Larry Goldsberry from Verizon, and I can't remember it. I got to remember it, but it just shows just this impact that this movement can have. And Ian, what are some of the subjects that will be discussed at GA Conf, if you don't mind giving us a few, because we want to make sure everybody go to the website to find out more, but just a few. Whet our appetite of what some of the topics that we'll be watching and hearing.
So all that's actually up on the website at the moment is the list of the speakers. None of the topics have actually been announced, but I guess I can give you a few. So we're going to have the developers of Hyperdot, talking about their remote user research and accessibility functionality in the game. We're going to have a panel of blind gamers, 4 different blind gamers from across the kind of interest and ability spectrum, talking about their varied experiences of gaming. I'm going to cheat and look on the website. It's been a long day.
Oh, no, you go right ahead, because what people don't realize, see, Ian is calling me, Skype me from across the pond, and it's kind of late over there, and I appreciate him always jumping on and chatting with me. And Ian and I, man, I'm looking forward to the day where we can go back to the Cheesecake Factory, get some good food, and get a cocktail. I'm looking forward to that, Ian. I miss that, man, so definitely looking forward to that.
All right, I'll give you 2 more. Okay, we're going to have Craig Kaufman from Able Gamers. He's going to be talking about community development and support. And also, we are going to have Andrew from Alchemy Labs, who is going to be talking about how to handle subtitling and captioning in VR. And that is to your point that you were just talking about then, something that is definitely applicable to other industries outside of gaming. There's some really nice learnings in that one.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And you know who I'm really looking forward to hearing, and he doesn't really speak a lot, but when he do, we all listen. David Tisserand from Ubisoft. I'm looking forward to seeing our friend David, man, because he is so brilliant in his mind and the way he articulates things, and that awesome French accent. I mean, it's like it's amazing, man. I'm glad to see that David's a part of it.
Yeah, well, he tried hard not to be. So when I proposed it to him, he's like, we got Cherry here working here at Ubisoft now. Can't I just send Cherry instead? But no, his time has come. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what his session is going to be. There'll be an announcement coming out about that soon, but it's going to be a cool one.
I'm looking forward to that. And Ian, before I let you go, any more information that you'd like to let us know about GA Conf and how we can sign up and register for this event?
Yep, just go to gaconf, gaconf.com. There's a register button on there, as well as a list of the speakers that have been announced so far. There's still some more to come. The registration, so the conference is free to view, but registration is required if you want to take part in the networking. So how you'll get into the networking, like the chat rooms and stuff, we'll send out a link to that and to the people who registered. So
that's awesome. So Ian, I know you were thinking throughout this whole interview he didn't ask me about it. I waited till the last minute to ask you about it. You know what I'm talking about, because I see a little smile creeping up on your face. Where's the dance jig at, man? You promised us that you were going to dance and send and show us on the Twitter. When are we going to get that, Ian? I didn't forget about that.
Yep. Unfortunately, I couldn't. It was very, very close on both criteria. Very, very close, but not quite there. But we'll see. Maybe in a patch or two's time.
All right, sounds good. Hey, I'll definitely look forward to that, and then we'll chat a little bit more about that. But Ian, always great catching up with you. How can people find out more information about you and some of the awesome tweets that you tweet out when it comes to accessibility? How can they follow you?
Yep, Twitter's the best way to find me. I'm at Ian Hamilton _, and my DMs are open.
Sir Ian Hamilton, the knighted one. I personally knighted you here in the United States, all right? So you can't get in trouble for it. Always great catching up with you, Ian, and always enjoy your insight. And thank you for what you do for the community out there. We really appreciate having you advocating for us.
Thanks for having me on.
That was the great, and I can't understand that enough, the great Sir Ian Hamilton. Ian is awesome. He's like so nonchalant and so cool when he talks. He's like, it's just like, he's cool, man. Sir Ian, great insight. Make sure you sign up for the virtual conference. Some people that I know is going to be a part of these talks, and it's going to be really, 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 really amazing. So make sure you check it out. All right, well, it's time for me to get up out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Next show, we're going to deal with some hard-hitting issues. I'm chasing that interview from the United States Postal Service to talk about what we can do to mitigate the slowing that we have when it comes to mail now, and how technology can play a part in it, and maybe talk about some cybersecurity, maybe talk about some candy, maybe talk about, oh, this is what I'm gonna talk about next show. Some of you old heads out there like me, you might remember a movie called Old Yeller, about a dog, about a Labrador. And there's always been like an urban folklore, and that is, was Kirk Russell the little kid in there? I'm going to answer that question next week. I know I'm crazy. Take care, folks. Love y'all.